Hello, I'm James Cridland, the radio futurologist, and this is Radioland, my international radio trends newsletter at radioland.email. And this podcast is sponsored by rss.com, which has just launched video podcasting, which is very good, that you can earn from the get-go. You keep 70% of all of the money. It's very cool. Go to rss.com to learn more. Now, radio is still where people go to discover music. We keep hearing new data from Edison Research shows that actually streaming music services now reach more Americans than AM/FM radio does. I'm of the opinion that music really isn't the reason that people tune in to the radio anymore. It's not a very fashionable opinion, but this data does show that if radio broadcasters are just relying on music to be their unique selling proposition, then they're on borrowed time. As you'll hear in my opening keynote at Radio Days Asia in just over a week's time, radio's secret weapon is our people. In Australia, you're probably aware that Kyle Sandilands has started his subscription-based radio service. He has yet to do a full week. He cancelled the first Friday show for technical reasons. The studio just failed to work. And Friday just gone, he was off sick. But can it work as a business? I took a long look at the business behind his new app, working out what his costs might be, and it seems clear to me that there isn't a chance that he can be operating at a profit. Mind you, we'll never know. The numbers will be confidential to everybody. Well, nearly everybody. Weirdly, his former employer, ARN, because it gets a 19.9% share of revenue, it will have the numbers. Let's hope they don't leak out. It appears also that the show is available as a private podcast. If you're a subscriber and you know who to ask, he's using the Canadian Transistor as a podcast host. In Bavaria, in Germany, digital radio listening has overtaken FM radio listening for the first time in terms of total reach. In terms of reach for radio Monday to Friday, the BLM data says that 45% of adults aged 14 plus listen to FM, 35% listen to DAB, 18% listen to radio online, and 3% listen to cable or satellite. So 30.1% only listen to digital. There's still a lot of listening on both platforms. But in total, 76.7% listen to the radio Monday to Friday, a figure down from 85.5% in 2019. Also in Germany, and possibly related to that, public broadcaster MDR has announced the closure of more FM transmitters for cost savings reasons. I think affected listeners will still get DAB coverage though. In the Netherlands, the public service NPO is to start broadcasting NPO politics and news on DAB. It's the audio from the broadcaster's TV channel, which carries parliamentary debates and news programming. They're shutting down a radio station called NPO Soul and Jazz, and also taking NPO Campus Radio off DAB. NPO Classic gets a little bit more bandwidth on DAB, which should be good. That's a classical radio station. Now, also going on, Radio 10, a commercial broadcaster, has rebranded its soul music service as Radio 10 Soul and Jazz to mop up any listeners there. In Austria, ORF is to turn off its FM transmissions and TV transmissions in 9 places as part of a cost-cutting measure. Kronen Zeitung has an almost hilariously sensationalist write-up of the switch-off, describing it as secret plans and pointing out that ORF has a compulsory licence fee which affected audiences will still need to pay. ORF stations will still be available via satellite and streaming, of course. And in Sweden, Radio Aftonbladet, which is a news channel, started broadcasting on FM nationwide. NRJ, which is a top 40 station, which had those frequencies but didn't get re-awarded the license, has moved to regional FM transmitters. Bauer's Vinyl FM, which was an oldies station, lost its FM license completely. The decision from the media regulator was announced in late May. Licenses changed over on the 1st of August, which seems unreasonably hasty from my point of view. Now, where am I speaking next? Well, I'm at Radio Days Asia. In a week and a bit's time. That's in Jakarta in Indonesia. You should get your tickets if you haven't already. RadioDaysAsia.com is where to get your tickets for that. I will be keynoting on radio's international trends and its future as part of the opening keynote, and looking forward to that very much. Also, I'm looking after the podcast day as well. Podcast Movement, I'll be there too, New York City, September the 14th to the 18th. I'm going to the Sounds Profitable bit and the IAB podcast Upfront bit. So that should all be fun too. Speaking at Podcast Movement, though, talking about the history of podcasting. And I will be speaking at the Audio Academy Festival in London on October the 1st, which I'm looking forward to immensely. I used to be a trustee of the Radio Academy, now the Audio Academy, but I never actually got to speak at the festival, so this will be a first for me. Looking forward to doing that on October the 1st. Now, they haven't actually announced me, but I did have somebody who said to me the other day, looking forward to seeing you at the Audio Academy Festival, so I'm guessing that it's available somewhere, so who knows. But anyway, very much looking forward to that. And thank you to the many supporters of this newsletter and of the podcast, including companies like Play It Software, like Jukwa, like Radio Zeit, like Soma FM, and like Clyde Broadcast, the radio people. Also, thank you, Daffy Furnham, Marty from New York, Gavin Watson, Greg Strassel, Sam Phelps, Richard Hilton, Emma Gibbs, Jocelyn Abbey and James Masterton for being regular supporters as well. You can join these excellent people by visiting buymeacoffee.com/James Cridland. You can become a member to give regularly, or just give a one-off or five if you like. You can go away and do that. You can also get this via email, radioland.email if you prefer that. And I'm on Mastodon if you like that. James at bne.social is where you might find me there. And my website's got more details about who I am, what I do, whether I can help you further. That is at james.cridland.net. And until next time, keep listening.